have a successful business within my business, but also that they feel taken care of as employees, because then they'll stay. But what do I need to do to provide that for them? Because I really think that should be the most. I mean, you should be fostering that kind of environment in your business, and not everyone does. I mean, most of them are about, how much money can I get? But I mean, really, honestly, I've told my staff openly in meetings before, hey guys, like I'm pouring into you as much as I can. And, there have been months when I've not taken a paycheck because me pouring back into the business and pouring back into the staff is more important than that. But it's not, again, it's not common. It's not popular. Like not taking home a paycheck as a business owner is not a popular thing. But it just depends. Like when your staff sees that, then hopefully they'll turn around and be quality business owners to someone else or to other therapists in the future. But if they don't care,
I just don't find the thing is, it's the reason I don't have a brick and mortar. And it's the reason I don't hire. The therapists don't think about overhead. They don't think about rent. They don't think about the electricity. They don't think about the front desk, the computers, lotions and sheets, and who cleans them. It's like, why don't we have a service? It's like, because it's expensive. Oh yeah. It's like all those nickels and dimes that they think, why don't I have stuff for me? And it's like, guys, as a small business owner, here's the thing. I have cranked it out for 7 years. And somebody downloaded my materials the other night. They looked at it for about 15 minutes and they wrote me a message. And they're like, how long did it take you to do this? And I was like, it took 7 years. And you realize, like, from my garage, essentially, I wrote 700 pages of sequence manuals. I'll produce 9 DVDs. And we have about 75 hours on our subscription service so far.
That sounds exhausting.
And nobody came to me and was like, hey, you should go make the world a better place. And, it was me just like, it felt, and I've described this many times, it feels like, Eazy-E selling crack to make money, to make an album, and then slinging it out of the trunk of your car.
Right.
But nobody believed in you. Nobody thought it was possible. Right. And the thing is, it's like, if I didn't do it, what was I going to allow to happen to whatever art I was working with?
Right.
Because I love it.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's a difference between a therapist who does it because they need a paycheck and they want to work at a spa.
Right.
And for me, it was like, my wife says there's a little Baptist preacher in me. It's like a religious fervor. Yeah. I did it because it equally is, filled me spiritually as it did economically. I did it because I loved it. Yeah. I loved being able to provide space.
Yeah.
To help people with chronic pain, to be able to work on people, male, female, to be able to resonate with them and help them in a way that doctors and sometimes PTs could not, or at least with a service that they were unwilling to provide because they're not going to spend 3 hours with the client.
Right.
That's what it goes back to again and again, and I'm fundamentally trying to get therapists to sell a different service, and here's what happens. They can't practice that service at any facility in the world that I know of. It's 3 hours long.
Why?
They don't allow it. It's not a massage. It doesn't fit the cultural box for what the consumers have been trained to purchase.
They could do it at my office.
Can they?
Yeah, absolutely.
But then we have to train them, and they're like, oh, training's expensive.
Well, it depends. And that's actually the benefit of networking with and knowing other small business owners that are massage therapists. I think that's one thing. The guy that I hired recently, he said, one thing I prefer is to work for small business owners that are also massage therapists because they understand the value of the education that you put in and what you encourage your staff to do, what you're willing to help, pay for as far as education or reimburse them for, the pay increases that you're willing to give them for the type of training that they have, that kind of thing. They understand that and value it more than, other places that are not run by massage therapists, because we're in the trenches with them. So, having other business owners that would be an ally like I am, I would be glad to. There's a male massage therapist out there who's had your training, or you have this similar training, and I would be glad to have him do that. And I've offered, those options. It's like, if you have a service that you have and we don't have it on our service menu, talk to me and let's get it in there. Because if that's really what you feel like is the best way for you to serve your clients, let's get it on there.
I never had you as a boss. Everybody fought me every step of the way. It was like straight up obstruction.
No, it's ridiculous. But again, it depends on what your like as a business owner, what's your goal? And again, not popular to not always not make money. And I mean, that most business owners would tell you you're failing if you're not.
Well, no, but the thing is, it's like that's 1 month. It's not about the long term.
Sure.
When you do that, I know that like, people look at it like if I don't know what we made this past year, but if I made like $80,000 to $100,000, people act like, woo, like I've made it as a massage therapist.
Right.
I'm like, yo, I didn't profit $80,000 or $100,000.
Right, exactly. Right.
There's a difference.
Right.
All of that money went right back into my business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it just depends on where it goes. Yeah. And for me, I would rather reinvest because, if you invest in your therapist, you're investing in your clientele. And if you genuinely care about people, then, it's not going to be about, it's about quality, not quantity. Yeah. So for me, I would rather have quality bodywork going out and quality therapists in my office than worrying about how many of them can bring me how much. It's just really not about that.
I mean, no, you've got to pay the overhead and deal with the finances. But you understand that it's like that's part of the fuel that builds.
Yes.
The whole thing is, it gets to this point where in the Insiders Club, when I talk to therapists, what I'm noticing is as they start to pick up what I'm doing, they're like, "Oh, I can't do this unless I work for myself." And I go, "Yep." There you go.
So
and they're like,
ruining it
that's a lot of work. And I'm like, "Yep."
It is, but but then then if you work for someone like me, who whatever our advertising budget is, sure, okay. If I went and scaled my advertising budget to be like Massage Envy's, that's another thing. Sure, if I want super tiny margins and just all quantity,
it's a different business.
It's different, but that's not what we're doing.
So why? And this is what I wonder about massage therapists as business owners. There have been conversations recently about envy. Why is it that investors come in from outside of our industry and build envy? Why didn't therapists do that?
Ooh.
And I think it's because massage therapists aren't good at business.
I mean, I not all of them. I won't speak for all of them, but I mean, I wanted to have my own business since I was a kid. I literally have a sheet of notebook paper with all of my business ideas when I was 9 years old that I wrote out.
Yeah.
And one of them was a bagel shop and one of them was a spa. There were some other ones in there, but anyways, so that was what I knew. But actually having the education to go out and do that, no. I have fallen on my ass so many times, made so many mistakes running my own business. But part of it was I knew that if I was serving people well and taking care of my staff, that would come along with it. The success would come along with it, hopefully. But I mean, it was never a guarantee. But I have a business management company now because I do what I'm good at and I let them do what they're good at.
And learning to delegate is the thing that, with other small business owners, when I interact with them, I can usually figure out fairly quickly who's the person that is such a control freak they won't delegate things, and it's basically smothering their business.
I'm getting better at it, but it's hard. I was totally that person. It's still hard. It's a thing that you have to work at every single day.
Yeah.
But part of that is just no one is going to care about your business as much as you do.
No.
So that's why it's always hard. Is allowing yourself to trust other people to care for your business. But I mean, I don't know. I think that people really do really well and flourish when you allow them to do what they're good at. And that is the reason, again, I have a business management company. I let them do all of that.
Because you learn to delegate what you're not good at.
Yeah. And allow them to look at my business and tell me what I'm not good at. And that's okay too. And I mean, they're an unbelievably, priceless asset to me. You have to recognize that. So therapists should be focusing on, they may not be good at running their own businesses, but they can also learn. They can learn how to run their businesses better. I could still spend, hours and hours and hours in business classes and learn how to run my business better, but it's attention. It's what your intention and your attention is towards. Do I really want to spend more time in classes? Yeah. No, I really don't.
So what are the long-term goals with Heart and Soul? Do you want to franchise?
Just take over the world. No, not franchise. Just take over the world.
Me both.
That's all. No, I want. I honestly, I don't know.
Because right now, correct me if I'm wrong, you only have one location, right?
We do. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So we do corporate chair massage outside, but we also do, the in-house. And we kind of tried to have a second location for a little bit, but honestly, that for me, it was just, I was spread too thin, and it just wasn't like, fortunately, it was a very temporary situation. I was able to kind of test the waters, but it wasn't for me. Because really, I am still so focused on being there and needing to be there right now that it's not possible. And I think that's what happens a lot of times when you franchise out and you do it too quickly, is that, you lose that, again, in that situation, you go for quantity, not quality, and then you lose all of that quality control.
I had a student start to ask me in the Insiders Club about whether I was going to franchise Reboot, because they had a client who wanted to open a massage place, and this therapist wanted them to kind of, no, don't, the chains are evil or whatever. And they were like, can they franchise what you do? And I'm like, I don't even have a place.
Right.
Like, it's a totally untested concept.
Right. But I think part of it too is there's a difference between sharing your knowledge and educating other people and taking your brand and your reputation and putting it on a place and allowing other people to run it. Because for me personally, like maybe it's part of that not wanting to delegate and wanting to hold on to things, but I don't trust other people to go out and like
contracts.
And
that's how you tell them what they do.
Right. Well, but the thing is though, again, still, I mean, it's very obvious that you can look at franchises and from one thing to the other, from one to the other, there can be huge, disparities.
But the reason that when a franchise owner buys in, the reason they're paying a certain fee is they're paying for certain stuff and logistics to already be taken care of.
Yeah.
And they know, I mean, the thing is, contracts protect friendships. Mm-hmm. If I was doing Reboot and you're like, yo, I want to open a Reboot studio, we'd have to sit down with a lawyer and figure out what the contracts say to stipulate what you can do and what you can't do when you use the name and how does that work. It's like McDonald's.
Right.
It's standardized to a degree. You have to sell. You can't go to McDonald's and just make the hamburger the way you want to make it. That's
true, but it doesn't mean that they won't for a while. It doesn't mean that they can't give.
Well, you can take away their franchise.
That's true.
But that's the thing. What I'm saying about it being maintained in the contracts.
Yeah.
It's not fun, and I'm not pushing you towards a franchise model because that's a much higher scale of business.
Yeah.
But the thing is, do you eventually want to have multiple establishments in Austin? 3 or 4 facilities.
I don't know. It's been a conversation that I've had. Right now I'm focusing on having my own home studio, which is really nice. Just to be able to have the option to work from home if I want to. But, I mean, maybe eventually. But, I mean, honestly, I'd prefer to have one in another state where I'd rather spend half my year.
Oh, okay. So it'd be like bi-coastal, something like that?
I would, having one in Portland, in Washington somewhere, that would be great. But other than that, I don't know about Austin. There's so many great business owners here. I'm glad to send people to other businesses that I know are well run and managed by my friends, but I don't necessarily want to have control over massaging everyone in Austin, no.
No, but the market's saturated. There are no clients, right?
There's not a clients.
I'm like, I'll sit when I go to Lauderstein Conway and give a talk. I'm like, guys, 100 people a day move here. Mm-hmm. All the clients you need to keep you busy moved here today.
Right. Yeah.
There is no excuse. Yeah. It's like people. The tech industry, there's money here. Yep. There's a huge host of, desk warriors that, need work. It's there's no shortage of people to work on.
No, absolutely not. There's plenty to go around for everyone. And that's like we were talking about competition earlier. It just depends. Who are you targeting? What do you see these other businesses as competition? What do you have to offer if you're seeing these other businesses as competition? And how do you need to step up your game if you're seeing them as competition? I mean, that's really where I think therapists need to stop and reflect on what exactly they're investing in themselves and their businesses and how they choose to educate themselves. Because if they do it well, then they don't need to go out and seeking clients forever. They really don't. Because there are enough clients coming into town to keep one individual therapist busy forever. Yeah. But, obviously it's different for a business like mine, where I need to keep 13, 14 people busy.
Different scale.
But it just depends. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the marketing for someone else, that's the thing that I cannot... I don't know how to light a fire under people to get them to do stuff. Because nobody has to light a fire under me. I just get up with religious fervor.
Right. You leap out of bed.
Well, I mean,
ready to go take
at noon, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm the annoying one. 7 a.m. I'm ready to go.
Ooh, morning person.
Mm-hmm. I love mornings.
Painful.
I love mornings. But yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, it doesn't take a lot, but lighting a fire under someone for sure. And, you know, sometimes the fire is lit for them when they need to make rent or but it's like, but how do you keep that fire consistent? And that's the really hard thing. But a lot of it is encouraging people, I think, to see what they do have to offer. And I think so many people, like I said, I felt like I was a dime a dozen for so long. And then I started having people investing in me and telling me that I was good at what I do. And I think that that's where really good educators come into play, is giving therapists the tools to feel confident, and also just them being in an environment that fosters that. Because really, if you don't think you're any good at it, why are you going to try? You know, but I think that that's where, yeah, good education has to come into play. Because if you're not receiving quality education, I mean, you feel that, you know it, your clients know it. And then that if your clients are coming back to you and you've got a good schedule, I mean, obviously you're going to feel confidence if you don't. But I think part of that is just investing in a good education. I might be rambling, but...
CE classes.
But
they're so expensive.
CE classes, whatever, learning from being, I don't know, going and doing it. You can do hands-on, like I said. All you need is a body, and that might be yours. You might be learning how to work on yourself. I know tons of people that have learned how to work on themselves. If you don't have a body to work on in a class, if you don't have an establishment to go and do that, work on yourself, work on a friend.
Yeah,
you can.
And I'm a self-starter, so it's just really challenging for me to see therapists who, that's like they want to pay a little money for somebody to give them permission to do something. You know, and in the end, it feels like there's a certain complexity to our art form that develops over time. Like, how long have you been working?
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. And I'm at 15. And it's like your art is probably vastly different at year 10 than it was when you started.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the thing is, it's really challenging to explain, because they're like, oh, well, it's just massage. In the end, it is. It's just a manipulation of soft tissue.
Right.
But there's so much about timing, pace, pressure. It's it's like looking at Van Gogh and Picasso and going, yeah, it's just painting.
It's just art.
But they had wildly different styles.
Right. Which one would you be if you could pick one?
Jackson Pollock. Brush.
Another question.
Fling it on there.
That's a good one. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, absolutely. And it's not just massage, but that's the people that are there for just the paycheck, that they think it's easy money. And do you really want to educate those people? No. I mean, sure.
Well, no, but
yes.
and here's the conversation. I've actually thought about this. I think that one of the things I'm noticing is, and I've seen this with clients, as I raised my rates on clients, I got more clients. In a way that felt very counterintuitive to me, because I was one of those starving artists who, I want to make sure they can afford it.
Right.
But as I raised rates, it was this weird thing where not only people did they value it more, but they were more likely to tell their friends, and they knew I was providing a unique service.
Right.
And I'm starting to feel that way about classes.
Yeah.
That I need to raise the fees on classes for the very same therapists who say, oh, it's expensive.
Right.
I'll have people who come from New Hampshire. They fly down to stay at a bed and breakfast, and they'll do 2 days of private training with me. I live in my house in Round Rock. I'm not exactly famous. But the thing is, it's like, why does that person come down from New Hampshire, and it's challenging to get Austin therapists to fill a class? It's because they don't respect it.
Yes.
And in Austin, they respect it when it's not available anymore.
Yes. It has to be... I don't know, trendy. How do we make it trendy?
He was just in L.A.
Right. Oh.
Ooh.
It's trendy then. Attendance goes way up.
And the thing is, like, I'm still providing more content as far as, like, social media content, videos on YouTube, more online education options for people who can't get to me in person.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to hit all layers, but the thing is, my actual time in class, I'm like, no, I think fees have to go up at some point.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for quality education, it's like beating a dead horse. Quality educators, quality education, it's really just reinvesting in the therapist. And also business owners. If business owners really want to, step it up and bring, their employees to classes like that, that's important. I mean, I approached you about it, probably 5 or 6 years ago. And I just
God,
to get
has
him.
it been that long?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh gosh, no. Okay, no.
I don't remember how long ago that
maybe
was.
Maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But at the time, it wasn't feasible for me to consider that in funding, classes for my therapist 100%. But we do tuition reimbursement for classes.
Yeah.
It's like Landon went to Thailand, last year, and when he came back. We normally do classes like reimbursement depending on like a percentage or a whole class, depends on what they do. But when he came back and I handed him a check, he was like, what's this for? And I said, he said, I didn't ask for reimbursement or anything. It wasn't, not like he said it like that, but I said, you didn't have to. Like, I knew that you were going out and getting quality education. You're investing in yourself. And as a business owner, I appreciate that you did that. So I don't feel like you should have to ask for that. I appreciate what you did because in turn it reinvests in my business. And I think that all business owners should appreciate that, because if you're going to go send your employees out to go take a $30 ethics class, like really consider, your employees should be learning ethics from you in general. They don't necessarily need to take an ethics class in a Holiday Inn ballroom. It just seems silly, right?
Yeah.
But like, if they're going to spend that money, spend it on quality education with quality educators. That's really where it needs to go in the first place.
The whole process of even doing this and having conversations at times that can even be volatile in relation to human trafficking or whatever other issues. It's advertising. It's marketing.
Yeah.
People get to see you. They get a chance to feel you out. What are your opinions and ideas? Do they resonate with you emotionally? Right. And I think that's one of the things that I've noticed when it comes to social media marketing that I push so heavily with massage therapists. We have deeply intimate jobs. Mm-hmm. Like you talked about frozen shoulder stuff, and I have some ongoing like old shoulder stuff. Mm-hmm. And my first thought is, I need to talk to her about that and see if I can get a session. Mm-hmm. But the reason I want to get a session with you is because one, you have a layer of expertise, a level of expertise, and two is I have more of an emotional resonance with you.
Right.
Where I'm like, yeah, it would be nice to work with Kristen. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. People get that same thing from video.
Yeah.
I'm never going to have a spa.
Yeah.
I work out of my home studio. But I don't know how many times I've had female clients tell me, I watched 10 of your YouTube videos and it was completely obvious that you were a professional.
Right.
And they get over the hump, and that's how I win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing that, because it is such an intimate thing, for some people that don't care, and again, kind of going back to that dime a dozen, like, I can go get a massage anywhere. But it's when it becomes something that it's something personal, whether it's your car accident that you were in, or if it's frozen shoulder, like, a client specifically a couple years ago, she said that she realized that she had to do something when she could no longer lift her arm to hug her kids. And she was like, that's not okay with me. And it became deeply personal to her, and she tried to do everything she could. Granted, she made massage like a last resort. She's like, I tried everything else. But when she realized that I could, not only educate her and take good care of her, but I also actually cared about taking care of her, that resonated with her more than anything else. And it's like, wow, so meeting a person in person is going to be, or seeing them on video, totally different than just reading my bio.
Than text.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not cancel any of those layers out.
No.
At all.
No, some people, my husband loves pamphlets. Mm-hmm. He can, I swear.
He loves brochures.
Oh my gosh, every place we go, I end up carrying the pamphlets. I come home from every trip anywhere in the world with an entire backpack full of pamphlets. You're welcome, Brian. And I'm like, I am not carrying your pamphlets anymore. But he loves them because he likes to have a grasp on the information and have a physical leaflet to read. And, some people love that. Some people love it. And so many people call our office and they're like, well, I read all your bios. But then they want to call and they want to ask us questions about them. Because
the therapist?
Yes, but about the therapist. Yeah, sorry. So they'll read the bios of the therapist, but then they want to ask questions. Well, I may not be comfortable. Landon maybe seems like someone that would be a good fit for me, but I don't know if I'm comfortable seeing a male. Then they want to hear that perspective. Like you said, there's just something very personal about that interaction, whether it's a video or just meeting them in person or having that personal recommendation that changes it totally for people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, videos it's something I'm usually pretty resistant to. I hate being on camera, but it's easier.
And then you hang out with me.
And then I hang out with you. Definitely resistant to this idea today, but I made it work.
So to sum up, if you are aware of human trafficking, report it.
Yes.
And then who do you report it to? The police?
Yeah, well, okay, so it's different. Human trafficking is really, I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. Human trafficking is really one of those things that there's a reason it is hard to catch, and there's a reason that it's all over the place. it's because they're good at hiding it. They're very good at hiding it. But there are some telltale things to look for. And if you ever want to have a conversation about that, feel free and message me. I'd be glad to tell you more, but there's a lot to go into with that. In the things to look for, patterns with people, activity, or their, just the way that they act or things that are in place in businesses. If you're ever curious about it or you think that it might be suspicious, even if you just feel like it might be suspicious, then report it. Yeah. Because there's at least the police are going to start looking into it and making observations about it, and then maybe they'll do something about it eventually.
But so, for instance, if you don't know a lot and you suspect some sort of human trafficking is going on, can you contact the police and then ask them who else or what other organizations you could contact? Would they have that information? Because I don't know much about it. So.
Yeah, about like what to look for?
No, about who do you report it to?
Oh, no, the police for sure. So, let's just say, for instance, Austin Police Department, they have a tip line, and you can just call them and talk to them about it. And you can say, hey, this is what I saw. This is what I think might be kind of weird going on. Like, I had a bad feeling about this, whatever. So you can report that to them, and they'll actually assign a detective to it that can get in contact with you if they've got more questions about what you saw or heard or a client told you about when they walked into a place, something like that. So APD for sure, they're the people you want to go to. Always, always, always. The organizations outside, let's just say like International Justice Mission, they're one of the organizations that was benefiting from the fundraising for December. They actually go out and do the rescue missions, but they do work with law enforcement agencies. So the law enforcement agency is the first one you want to call, for sure.
Okay. So report human trafficking, work hard, use social media.
Yeah. Be willing to pay for quality education.
Take good CE classes. And if people want to contact you, do you have a website for the business?
We do. Heartandsoulmassage.com. SOLE, like the bottom of your foot.
Okay, but Heart and Soul is just one word?
Yeah.
All letters?
Heartandsoulmassage.com.
Okay, so heartandsoulmassage.com. And then what about social media? Any contacts?
Yeah, we're on Facebook and Instagram, but mostly like my Instagram is food and dogs and some massage stuff, so don't follow that.
It's awesome.
You can if you want to. I do eat really good brunch every week. But for the most part, Facebook is the way to go. On Twitter, I don't know.
Twitter's a different platform. We can have more conversation about that some other time.
I'm 32 and I still don't get it. Yeah. I'm like, it should be a part of my generation, but I don't know. I don't mess with it. So Facebook and the website. Okay. That's the way to go.
So yeah, you can check it out. Again, that's heartandsoulmassage.com. And then I'll make sure to include links down below the YouTube videos so people can, follow you.
Sweet, thanks.
Cool. Thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thank you.